Hey everyone, this is Bastian with a quick video on MCP support in Space 1.4 and above. MCP support allows you to connect Space to one of your agentic AI tools like Claude Code, Craft Agents, OpenAI Codex, and many others. As long as it has MCP support, you can connect it to Space. This is pretty interesting because you can not only read from Space and use Space data in other places through your LLM, but you can also write data into Space. So use data outside of Space to influence, for instance, how you create a long-term plan. And that's what I'm going to show you right now. But let's first set it up. So when you launch Space and you go into settings, there is now a new AI tab where you can enable the MCP server. So just toggle that on and it's turned on. There are two different modes, read-only mode and read and write mode. Read-only mode is for safety because obviously if you let these MCP tools, AI tools write to Space, they could theoretically delete all of your tasks, mess up your organization, whatever, you know? So if you want to play it safe, you can use read-only mode, but for the full power, you will want to switch to write mode eventually. So I'm going to do that right now. Now I'm going to connect to OpenAI Codex, and to help me do that, I'm just going to look at the Space documentation at help.findspace.app, and there is an AI MCP support page on the reference which gives you some shortcuts to get connected. So connecting to Claude Code, connecting to OpenAI Codex CLI, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to copy this command, and I'm going to go to my terminal and just paste it in. And you see that a browser window opens asking for a pairing code. Now this pairing code is in Space settings. So there's a pairing code below the endpoint. I'll copy that, paste that in, authorize and continue, and confirmed. Okay, so now we see in Space settings, when I scroll down, that Codex has connected. It's one of the connected clients. And you can also disconnect it here and it'll immediately revoke all permissions and Codex won't be able to connect anymore. So we always stay in control of what agents can access your Space data in this way. Also, if you want to stop using MCP altogether, you can always just toggle this off, right? And then boom, it's off. No one can connect anymore. But I'll switch it on now. Cool, let's go back to our terminal and launch Codex. And now when I do /MCP, you should see Space is enabled, connected, and it offers a bunch of tools, resources, resource templates. These are all ways for you to interact with Space. What I'm going to do now, as an example, I'm going to create a long-term plan and have Codex fill that long-term plan. Now, the example that I'm going to give is a little bit, it's not entirely realistic, but you can imagine if you, instead of the context that I'll give it in a second, if you feed in, your own journals or emails even, any data that informs the AI about what's important and relevant for you right now and into the future, that can help you build that plan. So let's get going. Create a long-term plan in Space for 2026 based on Marcus Aurelius' meditations. Create 3 groups: health, wealth, and wise. And in each group, add a bunch of goals. Make sure to also set the intensity of the group to a relevant number. Yeah, I guess that's it. Well, we can remove that last bit. That's not relevant. Cool, let's see what it does. So now it's going to figure out by itself that it needs to use the Space MCP in order to do this, and figure out the right commands. It's going to create the plan, going to create the groupings, going to create the tasks in the groupings, all that stuff. Okay, let's follow along what it's doing. You can see that it's created this plan already with a short description, but there's no content in it yet. It's still working. Now the groups have appeared. And now the tasks have appeared. Let's Let's take a quick look. It's added a bunch of goals. In conflicts, pause before response and choose the calmer action. I love it. Okay, so you can see that this is a bit of a theoretical exercise, but still, I hope it does show the power of what you can do connecting space to AI tools. You can not only create long-term plans, you can also plan your week, your day, and I think in those areas it might be a bit more practical. You can actually have it look at your yearly plan, have it look at your weekly plan, and decide what is most critical for you to focus on today. You can also look at your calendar. You can schedule tasks on your calendar. Basically, most of the things you can do in space, you can have the AI do for you through this MCP function. Have a go at it and play with it, and I'd love to hear if you do build an interesting workflow on top of this. I'd love to hear about it. Thanks.